Good day, everyone. Today, we are diving into a fascinating and somewhat controversial topic, the dark psychology of ignoring a woman. This subject, steeped in the complexities of human behavior and relationships, often evokes strong reactions and differing opinions. Our goal here is not to endorse or criticize but to understand the psychological mechanisms at play and their potential impacts. Ignoring someone, particularly in a romantic or intimate context, is a powerful psychological tactic. It can influence emotions, behaviors, and even perceptions of self-worth. When this tactic is applied to women, it intersects with gender dynamics and societal expectations, adding layers of complexity. Understanding these dynamics can provide valuable insights into human behavior, relationships, and the sometimes subtle, sometimes blatant power plays that occur within them. #The power of attention. To begin, let's talk about the concept of attention in human relationships. Attention is a fundamental human need. From birth, we seek attention from our caregivers, and this need continues throughout our lives. Attention validates our existence, reinforces our self-worth, and strengthens our social bonds. In romantic relationships, attention from a partner is a form of validation and affection. When a man gives a woman attention, it often signifies interest, desire, and appreciation. Conversely, withdrawing attention can signal disinterest, dissatisfaction, or a shift in power dynamics. The psychological impact of ignoring. Ignoring someone can have profound psychological effects. For the person being ignored, it can lead to feelings of rejection, confusion, and insecurity. These feelings can trigger a range of emotional responses, from sadness and anxiety to anger and resentment. From a psychological perspective, being ignored can activate the same neural pathways as physical pain. This phenomenon, known as social pain, is a reminder of our deeply rooted need for social connection. When a woman is ignored, it can feel like a personal affront, challenging her sense of self-worth and desirability. The power dynamics of ignoring. Ignoring someone in a relationship is often a deliberate tactic to shift power dynamics. By withholding attention, the person doing the ignoring can create a sense of uncertainty and instability. This can make the ignored person more eager to please and seek validation, thus shifting the balance of power. In the context of gender dynamics, this tactic can be particularly potent. Societal norms often condition women to seek validation and approval from men. When a man ignores a woman, it can exploit these conditioned responses, making the woman feel compelled to win back his attention and approval. The role of conditioning. The power of ignoring is amplified by social conditioning. From a young age, many women are conditioned to be attuned to others' needs and seek external validation. This conditioning can make them more vulnerable to the psychological impact of being ignored. When a woman is ignored, it can tap into deep-seated fears of rejection and inadequacy. The desire to regain attention and validation can become a driving force, often leading to self-doubt and lowered self-esteem. The dark side of ignoring. While ignoring can be an effective tactic to shift power dynamics, it also has a dark side. It can be a form of emotional manipulation and abuse. Prolonged ignoring can lead to feelings of worthlessness and depression. It can erode self-esteem and create a toxic environment in the relationship. Ignoring can also create a cycle of dependency. The ignored person may become increasingly desperate for attention and validation, while the person doing the ignoring gains more power and control. This cycle can be damaging and difficult to break. The psychological tactics involved. There are several psychological tactics involved in the act of ignoring. These include intermittent reinforcement, where attention is given sporadically to keep the other person guessing and eager for more. This tactic can create an addictive cycle, similar to gambling, where the unpredictable nature of rewards keeps the person hooked. Another tactic is gaslighting, where the person doing the ignoring denies or downplays their behavior, making the ignored person question their own perceptions and feelings. This can further undermine the ignored person's self-esteem and sense of reality. ###### The role of narcissism. Narcissistic individuals often use ignoring as a tactic to maintain control and power in relationships. Narcissists crave attention and validation but are also quick to withdraw it to manipulate others. Ignoring becomes a tool to keep their partners off balance and dependent on their approval. In relationships with narcissists, the cycle of attention and ignoring can be particularly damaging. The highs of receiving attention and the lows of being ignored can create a roller coaster of emotions, leaving the partner feeling exhausted and confused. #######. The gendered aspect of ignoring. Ignoring as a tactic often plays out differently depending on gender dynamics. Women, conditioned by societal norms to seek male approval, may be more affected by being ignored. The fear of rejection and the need for validation can be more pronounced, making the tactic more effective. Men, on the other hand, may use ignoring as a way to assert dominance and control. In patriarchal societies, where men are often socialized to be assertive and dominant, ignoring can be a way to reinforce these roles and maintain power in relationships. ######. The impact on relationships. Ignoring can have a profound impact on relationships. It can create a sense of instability and insecurity, making it difficult for trust and intimacy to develop. The person being ignored may feel constantly on edge, unsure of where they stand in the relationship. Over time, the damage caused by ignoring can erode the foundation of the relationship. Trust and respect can be replaced by resentment and bitterness. The cycle of ignoring and seeking attention can become exhausting, leading to emotional burnout and the eventual breakdown of the relationship. ######. Breaking the cycle. Breaking the cycle of ignoring and seeking attention requires self-awareness and communication. The person being ignored needs to recognize the tactic and its impact on their emotional well-being. Setting boundaries and seeking support from friends, family, or a therapist can be crucial steps in breaking free from the cycle. For the person doing the ignoring, it requires a willingness to examine their behavior and its impact on the relationship. Understanding the underlying motivations for using ignoring as a tactic can help in developing healthier ways of relating to their partner. #####. Building healthy relationships. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, trust, and open communication. Instead of using tactics like ignoring to gain power or control, partners should strive to understand and meet each other's needs. This involves active listening, empathy, and a commitment to working through conflicts together.